Yeah,
Wow, you look beautiful.
you don't look like a mother, I'll tell you that. You look like, I don't know, you
a
both.
sister.
I don't know, you both look great. So
We should have known. You look exactly.
yeah.
Those are good
You
people.
do too in the corner.
Yeah, everyone.
These are good people.
Oh, well, hi there. How are you?
So where exactly are we now?
So we are on Cape Cod. We're in Wellfleet
Oh, my
at
goodness.
Wellfleet Preservation Hall. I'm gonna keep letting people in for just a few more minutes. So
Okay.
and actually, you know what I can do? I'm gonna screen share. And we'll see. Hi there.
Hi.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, we could actually just start showing the work.
Yeah,
Right? So smart.
I try. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. Well, while people are, although then I can't see who's coming in. While people are coming in, I'm going to go ahead and let you see some of Kim's work. And we'll explain why we're outside pretty soon. And I'm still learning the Zoom hosting party skills, so you'll have to excuse me. I am trying to see if I can see other people coming in. Participants. Well, I wonder.
I don't know what you mean by that.
We have a couple more people who had RSVP'd that they were coming, so I'm just going to wait a few minutes before we get going, if that's okay with all of you.
Sure.
Great. You have to say it again.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Susie.
Catherine Hess is an artist that also showed at Wellfleet Preservation Hall.
Really? Okay, I'm going to look it up.
Sure.
Your work looks great.
And Kim is the one in the, well, I don't know what corner.
Oh, yeah.
Kim is the one with the beautiful paintings behind her. Oh, we got another person. We got a live one.
We got a live one.
If it's somebody we don't know.
I don't know. Well, let's see.
Amy. It's an Amy.
Amy, do you know an Amy?
I don't know an Amy, so
Oh,
Hi, Amy.
hello. Hi, Amy. You're on mute at the moment. Oh, there you go. You're off mute. Excellent. Well, Amy, we're just waiting on a couple more people, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. And just so everyone knows, this is myself and Susie's first Zoom art opening, so you'll have to bear with us. It's all an experiment.
We've never done COVID before, so
Yeah.
we're very new at this.
True.
But you gotta be quiet because we're not.
I'm not.
I'll go ahead and share this some more. I'm just going to have you see some of Kim's work while we're waiting on a couple more people. And we'll explain why we're outside.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah. Kim, your work is just beautiful.
thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Wow.
Can you guys see that participants box?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can? Oh, okay. Wow, that's
good in the corner.
yeah. I just don't know if it tells me if someone's coming in. It's an experiment.
That's the one I
I
like.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Some consensus on that.
Favorite.
So while we're
Those are pretty.
waiting on a couple more people, I'll just explain that. So Susie and I were inside, and the regulations here are that if you're inside with someone else, you have to have a mask on. and we were talking and preparing, and we realized it was a little bit difficult to talk to each other and interview and drink wine, most importantly, if you have a mask on. So we opted to head outside, show some of Kim's work that's on our website, and if you'd like, we can go inside at some point after we talk, and do a little walk around. I did practice walking around with my computer, and I felt as if it might make you a little nauseous. So I thought maybe not, but I'm game if you are. You can also, if it's easier, I'm happy to set up a time to one-on-one Zoom with you if you have particular pieces that you'd like to see. And we're almost at the point where we can allow people to set up appointments to see the work in person with masks and windows open and all that good stuff. So it's all very exciting to be pivoting on so many of our events and life at Pres Hall, but we're thrilled that we're continuing on and not just kind of stopping when this all hit.
How much effort work? That's right. That's right.
Let's see. I think, we might go ahead and get started because
It's hard to pick one.
Just
I
listen to
believe.
remember the past one.
Mhm.
It was there for a while.
What do you think?
I think we should go for it.
So if you all will mute yourselves, that will allow Kim and Susie and myself to be the main people that you see. If you go up to the right-hand side of your screen, there's a little box that says speaker view. If you click on that, whoever is talking, who's unmuted, there'll be the big window that you see. So that might be helpful for you to see Kim and Susie a little bit more clearly. Possibly. Kim, do you want to go ahead and say something? I'm practicing Catherine, if you mute yourself, that might help. Not that I
Can you hear me?
There we go. All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Great.
Thank you very, very much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being game to do a Zoom art opening. It's the first one at Wellfleet Preservation Hall. We've never done a virtual art opening, so congratulations, Kim.
Thank you.
First. And my name is Emily Kelly Joseph. I am the Special Projects and Volunteer Coordinator here at Wellfleet Preservation Hall. If you've not been here before, we are in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. This is a year-round arts and cultural community center. We do about 700 activities a year, and we always have artwork up on the walls, which is very fun. And my friend Susie here is the one who works with all the artists and gets them hung up on the walls and usually organizes all of the openings and does a lot for the visual arts. So I don't personally know a lot about art, so Susie is going to do the handling of the conversation. So I will leave it to the two artists.
Oh,
Thank you
she's
for
going to be
being
part
here.
of it.
Well,
You're just.
I would be drinking wine.
Yeah. So thank you very much for being here. I guess to start, what I would recommend is that we showed you the work, and that after the conversation, it might be worthwhile to go back to the website and look through the art again, because I think once you hear a lot more from the artist, you might see the work differently. And that's part of why we're doing this. It's just so you can really learn more about what goes on in Kim's brain while she's making. But I guess first, why don't you tell everyone where you are so we can just ground us all.
Right now, I'm down in Longboat Key, Florida. I'm originally from Cleveland, and then we moved to Pittsburgh, and now we're down here.
And your background is in surface design?
Yes, surface pattern design, that's anything printed or woven. So for 17 years, I designed wallpaper and fabric.
Great. Okay, so we have questions made up for you. And first we're going to ask you, why Pres Hall? What was your relationship to this area?
Well, it goes back to even the title of the show, Idol. It was a very happy, peaceful place for me, picturesque. The time that I spent there was very special, and I suspect that anybody who's been there or lives there feels the same way. And I felt that it would be a wonderful place to show this body of work that started 2 years ago.
Can you tell everyone a little what started 2 years ago and where?
Yeah, I had a residency at Truro Center for the Arts at Edgewood Farm, and I stayed a month. And in that time, I set myself up to do works on paper that were supposed to be somewhat quick, trying to get me out of my surface pattern design, which is an all-over design. So I feel like my composition's probably my weakest thing. Color's great, but compositionally, I wanted to work on how the eye moves around a painting, how it goes in and out, contrast, all of those design type things. And so I did 24 basically studies of the area, coastal terrain in that month. And then 3 months later, I was in a dune shack, and I spent 2 weeks and I did 11, kind of continuing with the same theme. And since that time, I've been working on what I call head and heart, because they are from my heart, in that I'm not putting a lot of thinking into the work. I just let it happen. But there's obviously some thinking that's going on. There's obviously something that I've been thinking about with the landscapes that I've learned from the landscapes. So that is really 2 years worth of work.
Great. So you said, did you set these limits up for yourself about wanting to get out of one realm and to work on your composition, or was that part of the residency? Did they direct you on that? How did you set up those?
That was what I wrote for myself.
Okay.
And I felt that working on paper was easy, and that I could transport it into the dunes and out of the dunes. But I don't put any limits on what materials I use. So ink, acrylic, oil pastel, charcoal, chalk, pencil, whatever, and some various other tools that I use to make the marks. But yeah, that was for me.
Right. So do you think that when you were doing surface design, pattern design, it's a little off question, you were looking at composition, it was a space instead of a 2D plane.
Right, there should be nothing that catches your eye when you're designing wallpaper and fabric. No tracking is what it's called. And I have found that it's that thing that catches your eye that gives it energy. So the work you see behind me is what's going on now, which I call disruptor, which are the things that catch your eye. Those are the things that give it the energy. Those are the things that make you stop and say, why did she do that? Why did she leave that?
Beautiful. I'll just let you know that Susie also has her dog here, so she is chasing her dog. But luckily she made some questions for me, so I can also check in with you. Oh, here she comes. She's coming back. I'll let her take over.
I'm gonna leash her and I'm back.
Okay.
You tell them.
I told her that.
Sorry. Bad idea. She said she wants to see the art, but she's
Sparkly.
my dog's coming. Okay, so what made you switch from working in pattern surface design into being a full-time artist?
At the time, design went from being painted by hand, every single colorway was painted by hand, to AutoCAD, and that didn't interest me as much.
Right.
So I moved on to some interior design and then into painting.
Great. So when you picked the title Idol, there's 3 bodies of work in this. There's the Edgewood Farm, and can you tell us about the other 2?
The second is Peaked Hill,
Right.
because it's in the Dune Shack, and the third was Head and Heart.
Right. And
that's all that you have are those 3.
Yep. And the head and heart is just the constant working that you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
It's what has come third. That's the third. That's what I've been doing ever since I came back from the Dune Shack, was Head and Heart. And I've escalated it. All of them were 10 by 10, and then I went to 18 by 18, and now I have Head and Hearts that are 40.
So let's talk a little about your process. What do you work on more than one at a time? What's your...
I do. I kind of ease myself into it with what I call starts, and I might do 10 starts in a day.
Which is what? What's a start?
A start is just that initial get something down. I usually start with ink, get some good feeling, and it's really like the thinking comes after the work.
Right.
This part gets it all started, and then I see where it's going. And none of it is like, I'm going to do a blue and yellow one, or I'm going to do something that's distant, because sometimes it ends up being not distant. It ends up being close. So I do 10 starts, and then I let them dry, and I go back into each one as I, and then I might start 10 more, and then, I work on all of them till I figure it out. It's a puzzle.
Yep. And always on the same size?
I have 18 by 18, and the 40 inches are a little hard because we're in this condo now.
Yeah.
But but they're not all I have those 3 basic sizes.
But always a square.
Yes, I like a square.
Yeah.
I like turning it upside down, sideways. I don't know what, and actually they all can be turned upside down, and see it in a different depth. Sometimes it brings it closer, sometimes it brings it farther. I like the square, and for this, I've liked it is that you as hanging it, you can put them in any order you want. They're all kind of interchangeable, even though they're all different in colors. You can see that scale combines them, or color brings them together.
Well, as the person who was hanging the show, it was very interesting, because at first I was really, she gave me very clear instructions about how, not instructions, but which ones were what body of work. And so immediately I thought, oh, keep the bodies of work together. But because Kim is also, I will say, very easy to work with and very open, and I started to play with it. And what was interesting is that anybody could come in and do a whole different layout than what I did, but you're always finding these new relationships where a line continues to the next one, or a color, or one is really deep and say heavy and the other one's lighter. So it was hard to make a final decision, because in a way it didn't matter, but it also does matter, because whatever relationship you put them next to, they're going to create a story, a narrative, and you just have to decide, what I think is the narrative is just my subjectiveness. So, but that's what's really nice about your work too, is that you're able to, it can go next to any piece and it works.
Right. I hope that doesn't become my downfall, that it appears that I haven't grown.
Oh, no.
But I feel like with this Disruptor series, I feel like I'm getting a little more, not detailed, but the marks are meaning more. And so when I'm going a little bit further with them, whereas before I would stop sooner. But I hope that, and that's not, I'm just saying to myself,
right.
I hope that doesn't become my downfall, that it appears that I haven't changed.
Well, I don't think it's about change or not. Just looking behind you on that wall, the 2 pieces, the second piece and the 2 right over Kim's head, there's a horizon line that continues on. So there's a relationship there. But then if you were to take the one all the way over on, it's our right, and put it next to the second one, that would create a different story. Right. Or if you took the big one on the below you and put it next to the small one, it's just different. It's all from the same artist. So what makes it work is that it doesn't feel disjointed and it continues a conversation. But I don't think in any way that that's a shortfall. That's just,
okay. I'm just thinking.
No, I think your work is full of opportunity, and it's full of people being able to look at it and see different things for themselves. What Emily reacts to and what I react to will be different. And I think your work allows that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. And I really like when people like a different one.
Right.
That actually pleases me, that, they say, I like this one way better than that one. And then somebody will come and say, no, I like that one better. And I like that people can appreciate it for different things.
Right. So let's talk a little about just being an artist in general. because I think that's something I personally am always trying to kind of debunk, this myth that artists just paint when they want to, and it's just like, oh, it's so cool, you're an artist. And it's, to me, it's our job, the same as being a chef or a lawyer, in terms of the commitment to it. But, and there's a practice. And I think you, just from the little I've worked with you, it's very clear that you're prolific, you're constantly making, and one of the things I wanted to also bring into this is that, you know, the coronavirus hit and everybody was freaking out. And a lot of artists, they bailed. They said, I'm not going to show now. No one's going to see it. And we talked, and, you know, and it was every day. We didn't know what was going to happen. And Kim was just like, this is where I'm at right today. And today I'm an artist doing this, and I'm going to go for it. And I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but I think that was very generous of you. And I think that the world, you know, art isn't really just about pretty pictures. I mean, it's about thinking and ideas. And one thing also I wanted to add is that when you say from the heart, and you're not really thinking, you know, I used to say that in my own work, and a professor said to me, the thinking comes from the making. That it's not that you're not thinking when you're making, but you're so in tune with the materials that it's not a premeditated thought. I'm going to put yellow here. You're reacting to what's in front of you, but that's based on experience and years of working a certain way. So
yes. It's head and heart.
Right. And
Head
that's an
and
important,
heart.
it's a skill too.
Yes.
So, but do you want to say anything about showing?
Well, first of all, you had on there a question about what people think of being an artist. And I think people think that I have all the time in the world to go do what you know, you can meet me at 2:00 on Tuesday because you're an artist. And my time is well thought out. And it may appear to you that I'm not working, but I am working. May appear to you that I have all this time, but I've organized my life to do this.
Right.
And what I think about art, and you say that I continued on, we wanted to keep the momentum going. People aren't less interested in creativity than they were 6 months ago. They are just as interested.
Yes.
And also, I think I am selfish. I would do this if I would make this happen no matter what. If you told me I couldn't do it anymore, I'd be sneaking in the back room doing it. I'm not going to stop. And I have filled my time really well doing this for the last 3 months, and I've enjoyed myself immensely. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to keep it going. I wanted to keep the momentum going. I wanted people to see my work, and I am extremely grateful that you took the time, even though no one may see this, to put my work up.
Well, they might not see it in person, but they'll see it on the website, and, you know, we can do the virtual tour, and just, you know, having your exposure is wonderful. It's wonderful to see this work on the walls, especially because just even from a staff perspective, we're coming back into the office a little bit at a distance, and just nice to see new life on the walls. It, you know, warms the heart. So
yeah, and it ripples out. Everything does affect everything.
Right.
And, you know, and the other thing is you're helping the art world in general move forward. And right now, whether we like it or not, this is life. Right. And we can't stop. We have to be smart and safe, but we also, you know, need to keep moving forward. And side note, because now I'm going on a tangent, Mary Oliver, who's very popular in Cape Cod, had a really beautiful quote about, she said, you know, there's pilots and there's drivers and mechanics, and they all make the world go every day. And they're just so essential and so important, but artists make the world go forward. And it's a really nice thing. And that's what you're helping to push things forward. So, okay.
So thank you.
So a couple other questions about being an artist for any other artists that are here. You kind of touched on that you're structured, so you do have a set schedule to some degree, and you make sure that you get your work, because I'm sure it's very easy for people to, you know, pull you in different directions, as we all do. How do you deal with like the inner critic and that getting in the way of the work? Can you talk about that at all? Or?
Well, I won't lie. Every single painting has its share of tears to heavy sighs to tears to swearing. It's all like, it goes through a process, but I like to, I say, you know what, you did it before, you'll figure it out again. You will, you'll figure out the solution. And then when I look back on my work, I'm always surprised how much I toiled. And yet I see so many things that are right that I feel good about myself. And so, yeah, I feel like every painting leads me to something I can do better.
Right.
It's, if I'm not happy with it, power on, figure out, keep going, because I'm a fairly positive person, and I think I'm what's the word? I'm competent, so I should be able to figure it out. And generally, I feel pretty content with myself. I've made these parameters within where I'm working, and that is in a landscape that keeps me centered, doesn't let me stray too far. And maybe 5 years from now, say, okay, I can get rid of the landscape, I can get rid of the horizon. I don't feel like I have to read it that way. But at this point in how I'm going away from the surface pattern design, I kind of need to be working in that being able to read it situation.
Sure.
I'm happy with my journey. I try not to get too down on myself. You know, I feel like I get positive reinforcement from people around me and support. So I'm pretty positive.
Yeah. Well, I think that the more committed you are as an artist, I think that that inner critic can go away more, you know. And Catherine Hess, who's on this call, she's another one that she is a very hardworking artist, and you know, just her she shows up, and by showing up and showing up and showing up, you know, the work keeps improving, keeps getting stronger, and I think it helps all that. I think when you don't go in the studio for a while and then you go in and you're like, you make a mess, and then you start thinking, why am I even doing this? I should just go back to my day job, or what's not your case. But so, okay, I appreciate that.
We know I'm not going back to a day job.
Yeah.
Outside of this, no.
Okay. How do you push yourself out of your comfort zone? Because everybody has a comfort zone.
Right.
Whether we want to admit it or not, you know, whether you're a painter or a social worker, or, you know.
Right. I try to work as if there are no mistakes, to let it get looser. Then if I need to rein it in, that's easier. But to really work like with abandon, that it's all going to be okay. And when you're working on paper, and I've actually only thrown away 2 in 2 years, where I was like, this is getting out of hand. But like this one over my shoulder here has been, it was around the block and back like 15 times. I was getting, looking at other people's work and how they solve problems. And in the morning I'd pick one and think, oh, Daddy did that. And then the afternoon I'd pick another direction, and then the next day was another. And really, I got to just be me. And, you know, there is a value in looking at other people's work so that you can expand how you solve problems, but it can't be somebody else's gig. And so that's my thing.
Speaking of that, is there any artists that inspire you, that, you know, I would say famous artists that we would know of, or what artists do you look at besides, you know, whoever's in your?
Cecily Brown. I enjoy listening to her. I enjoy looking at her work. And there was a time when I thought, I gotta figure that, I gotta do that. And it just not what I do. Right. You know, you spend a couple months thinking, oh, figures and intertwined and all of this, you know, and it seemed kind of design wise like I could do that. Like I look at things, I think I could do that, but it's not what I do, but I enjoy listening to her a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a great thing about looking at other artists is if you're not always looking at them, you know, there's artists that you can look at that don't look like your work at all, but there's something, maybe it's their process or the way they think of things or the materials that they use or, you know, that come into your work without it being, I want to paint like Van Gogh or, you know.
Right.
Okay, so a little about being connected beyond your studio. We know that you are a member of the National Association of Women Artists and American Women Artists.
Yes.
Can you talk a little about that?
Well, you know, I'm alone. I'm alone all the time. I would like to be part of a group, and I have tried working within studios where there are many artists in the space, and it doesn't really work for me. But I would like to be part of something. I would like to be part of the leadership of a group. But yeah, it's just part, I just would like to get out. I would like to have a conversation with people about art. I would like to meet other artists as a whole.
How did you get involved with them?
You know, I just looked on the internet. National Association of Women Artists is in New York, and we're going to build a house up and I thought, you know, I could go in once a month. I could help hang shows. I could, you know, I could be part of that group.
Yeah.
And that's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am a woman, so.
This is kind of a hard question.
Okay.
But what relationships do you see with your work and what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, that's a thing. I made a decision a long time ago that I'm not making a cultural, social, political statement. I'm selfish and I'm trying to solve my whatever it is that I'm working on within myself. And I spend my time in my studio to not think about those things. And I have had people counsel me and say, well, you should paint that anger, that you should paint. I'm like, that's not me. I don't think anybody wants to see that. And I hope that when people look at my work, they can say, well, that's a happy artist. That I feel something when I mean, it could go both ways. I get that I could be somebody who could change how other people think, and I could be a person who enlightens people, but hopefully what I do is sufficient, and it's what I do. I mean, I'm just trying to solve these little design things in my head.
And it sounds like, I mean, not to interrupt, but, you know, maybe outside of your work, you were just mentioning that you are interested in being involved in leadership in the women's organization. And I would assume that you do a lot of that, you know, maybe not in your physical work, but in your communal work. So
outside of my studio,
right.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I also believe that not everyone's role in making a change is the same. There are people that can go out and hit the streets and protest, and thank God for them. And there are people that make art about it, and thank God, you know, everything but I also think there's no way that what's around you doesn't affect your work. So even if maybe your work hasn't changed, I do still think there's a relationship. And to this, if Catherine would be willing to unmute herself, and she just sent me the most perfect quote about this today, right?
Hear it.
Oh, can I remember it? It was it's on my refrigerator. It's a Twyla Tharp quote. God, what is it? Art is the best way to leave home without running away. Something like that.
That was it. That was it.
That was it.
I agree.
Which I think fits pretty well with the time we're in right now.
I agree.
We're confined to home a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, my last set of questions. It's a little hard in this case because you were willing to come up here. She was going to drive from Florida, come on up and see the work hung by someone else. Now we did send her installation pictures, but they're very hard to read in the space because of the glare. And when you're in the space, they just have a different presence than the photographs. but I just wondered, how does it feel when other people hang your work? And is there anything that advantages or disadvantages? And you can talk honestly about this.
I feel that it's the gallery owner or wherever it is, it's not my job to hang. It's not my decision to make. It's your space. It's your viewers, your venue. It is not my place to say, oh, that's my favorite painting. It has to be over here. That is never going to be, that is never going to be what I'm going to do. And I have a bias. And
Right.
you know, I have like a connection, like that one was so hard, took me forever. I think it's more valuable than that one that took me much less time. I don't want any of that to come through, because the end is what the viewer takes from it. And I feel like the person hanging the show has more of an idea of how that's going to come across.
Well, I just have to say that as a curator, I have my own gallery. It's a struggle because artists always are like, oh, well, that piece should be more expensive because I worked so hard on it. Or I want this piece in the show because I love this piece or whatever. And that is such a part of it. But what I think is a great relationship when you're hanging a show is when the artist can recognize that they can say, I just want to let you know, this piece is my baby and I want it up. If you don't think so, that's okay. But the conversation, because it is an opportunity for you as an artist to see someone else hang the work. They're seeing different things than you see, and you know it in such a way that is just part of you. And whereas we are looking at it from a totally different view. I mean, we don't really even know you that well, you know?
Right.
So it's really great that you can actually say that and be okay to let go of, because letting go of this work is part of, I think, letting it get out there in the world.
Well, also on that topic, this is a visual art. I have had gallery owners tell me, you need to name your paintings. And I have resisted it all along because it's a visual art. I'm not going to give you any more information than what you see. And if it doesn't work for you, I'm not going to name it Wellfleet and have you love it more. It is completely, after I give it out to you, it's completely up to you to think whatever you want to think. And I've had people say, I see mountains and snow. I'm like, fantastic. I see people. I'm like, I love you see people. I see birds, but you see people. It is a visual art, and I'm never going to give you any more information to figure out what if you like it or you don't like it. So that's my thing with that. But I've been told I could sell way more paintings if I would name them. You know, Bumblebee in the Sky, or I you know, whatever. But that's not what I do, and I'm not going to spend any time thinking about this one's enlightenment, or I don't know. But I might offend somebody by just saying that, but I said it anyway.
It's okay. You're allowed to offend anyone you want tonight. It's your night. Is there anything you want to say that we haven't touched on? Because we sent Kim some questions, but we've gone all over the place.
Let's see. No, you can ask me anything.
Does anybody else want to ask a question?
They have to unmute themselves.
Yes, you have to unmute yourself first.
If you do, if you want to. And also, if you want me to walk around a little bit into the hall, I can do that. I don't know if anybody has a preference on that. Kim, what do you think? Do you want to see it?
I'd like to see the building. I'd like to see the sky and the.
Okay, we'll do a little walk around. If anybody gets nauseous, you can just turn off my camera or, all right, we're gonna go on an adventure. You should get yourself some more wine. All right, here we go. We're going inside. So we're in the backyard right now. And this is what the building looks like. We have a big open wall here so that we can project movies and potentially artwork onto the back wall. So we're gonna go.
Is it facing you?
Yep, it's facing me. So maybe, yep, perfect. Oh, Susie's opening the doors for me. Look at this fancy service. We're going in the kitchen way, so we're not gonna see any of the work at this moment. So we hang art on 3 floors. This is actually the bottom floor. We have some of Kim's work here. It's a little bit hard with the lighting. Look around here. And we've got a Susie here. So this is the downstairs lobby. A couple down. And then we'll head upstairs.
You don't have to go through the whole thing if you don't want. I just wanted to get a sense of the background.
Yeah. Here. Oh, we're going. It's not going to take long. I'll just do it quick. A quick little here. Is anybody nauseous yet?
These are my favorites.
These are my favorites. Couple pieces here. Look here. Just really, really lovely in these pieces. These are my favorite. Yes. I love this set right here. You guys, it's hard because it glares off of the computer. But I don't know if you can see this beautiful color on these. Yeah. That's just a really quick tour. I want to head back outside.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And like I said, go to the website because we have Kim's work. I was kind of showing it a little bit earlier, but it's nice. You can sit with it and go through the work. And when things open up a little bit more, we're hoping to be able to accept scheduled viewings inside the hall, and at some point we're hoping that we'll be able to do some activities back here. But it's just, Kim, it's so nice to have your work on the walls, and kind of what Susie was talking about earlier, instead of things being at a standstill, it feels like you work on the walls, we're moving forward. You know, so it's special.
We're also hoping that Kim will stay until the doors open so that we can get people in to see the work. So originally the show was going to be shorter, but we're extending it because. Does anybody have any comments or anything else?
I thought this was a very stimulating back and forth. Good questions, interesting answers. Are you is this dialogue gonna be available to see at any other time? Are you gonna put it on the website?
So we recorded it, and we'll probably put it on the website and maybe on Facebook if that's okay with everyone. If not, just send me a little email and I can edit you out. Maybe edit you out. My skills aren't that good, but I can try. But yeah, we recorded this session, so we'll get that out, because yeah, this was a really lovely, I feel like I learned a lot more about Kim's work, and that's special now to see the work again and all of our conversations. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Yeah, I would like to ask him a question. I think I have a sense of what your answer might be, but out here, it seems like there's a very big emphasis on, it's almost like biblical, you know, who your father was and your grandfather was and your great-grandfather and which school. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wellfleet?
Yes.
Okay, I'm still not totally used to Zoom. How were your influences? I know you said you were in graphic design and in commercial painting, wallpaper and stuff, but I'm wondering, in terms of your artistic style, you hear out here so much about it. representational versus this versus that, and it makes you nervous. And I'm just wondering, in terms of art historical, information, how interested are you in any of that? Your artwork sounds like it comes from a very personal place.
Yeah.
And not necessarily having other things influence you so much.
Right. When I was in college, I had a great drawing teacher. And it was my favorite. I think drawing's really important. It was my favorite thing. And then I went on to painting, and it went badly. They wanted us to paint. It was tears, and I wasn't there were several other people who cried. I did not cry, but it was hard. Painting was hard. And my senior year, the professor said, you know what? Stop. Go to the library right now and find something you like. You don't have to paint like everybody else. Go find something you like. And I took the class, and I went over, and I got a book on Milton Avery. And I thought, see, it doesn't have to be like everybody else was doing. And so between my drawing teacher and this painting professor, I was able to put it together and still love Milton Avery and color. And now I just know that I have to be me. That's it is from a personal place. I think an artist makes marks that only they can make. You can't fake it. You can't replicate it. You can't do it. I had to last week do a commission because somebody wanted something that looked to go with another one. And I took it in, and I said, I did two because, I'll take a chance. And I said, never, never, never again. Do not ask me to do this because I get it's my job. As my husband would say, it's your job. You might not like doing it, but you need to. And you know what? I can't do it. You can't make those up.
No.
So I have to be me, but I have to be me in a way that I can do it. And about 8 years ago, when I started painting full time, I started with my fingers because I remember college. It was like always dirty brushes and everything's muddy, and it was just, trying to do what he was doing, and I couldn't do it. So I did like 4 paintings. I started on January 1st, and I did 4 paintings with my fingers. And I thought, you know what? I don't have to clean anything up. All done. And then the second 4 were palette knife. Just palette knife, brush it up, way I go. And I've gone into using anything.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Kim is frozen, but hopefully she'll come back.
Is everybody frozen?
No, I
No, just
Oh, just Kim.
in her beautiful
I know.
area. Maybe she'll come back.
Yeah, let's give her a second.
Oh,
no.
oh dear.
Maybe she'll call us back.
Maybe she'll come back. Did she drop out of the, oh no, she's still there.
Oh, you're back?
Oh.
No.
Nope.
She's just
Yeah, now she's
Oh.
moving.
Kim, I think you're back.
Okay, thank you.
Yay! Oh, good.
We have terrible internet here. Terrible.
I just want to add to that from a different perspective of not being the artist, is that commissions, especially I think in abstract work, is very difficult. I have worked with artists many times, and someone says, I love that piece. Can you do a commission? Oh, yeah. And then, but they have, the problem isn't, I don't think it's you. I think it's the people get an idea in their head. And if it's not that idea, they get fixed on that, which is understandable. And it becomes kind of a struggle, and nobody really feels like the original connection that was made, even if it's, and I mean, these, it's not about the work. It's just, that's kind of the mind.
Right.
So that's one part. And the other thing I want to say is based on teaching, that so many like college kids are always like, I want to be original. I don't want to do anything, you know, and yet it's all been done in a way.
Right.
And we're all taking from what's out there in the world. I mean, that's what stimulates us. But I always say, you try to make the circle that John made with the same pen and it's still going to look different. It has a different life to it, a different kind of fluidity. So I agree with you so much about this idea. She's frozen. She's frozen. This idea that you are original by default of who you are. And if you're making it authentically, truly, it will never be the same as anyone else's. And that's the skill set, I think. So, well, Kim is frozen and
She's just very intent on
anything
Oh,
else anybody
dear.
wants to say while she comes back? Oh, no.
Don't look to her. She's not there. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I don't know.
Huh?
I agree. It was very informative and interesting. So thanks for doing it.
Oh, well, thank you for coming. Oh, we lost Kim off the call, so maybe she'll pop back in.
Are we gonna get her?
Are we,
We still see you. We see everyone else,
yeah, but you don't see her.
but we don't see Kim.
Oh.
No, we're in Wellfleet, but we're from Cleveland, and I wanted to
He
tell her
just wants
that.
to tell her.
Oh, that's
Well, Kim's parents, are you in Cleveland?
No, we're in Wellfleet.
We're in Wellfleet.
We're
Sorry. iPad Marty is Marty. Those are Kim's parents.
Oh,
Marty. Where are you?
wave.
Oh, I'll unmute you.
That's why he looked.
I think you just muted.
Unmute.
Oh, there we
Unmute. Okay.
Marty. Oh, sorry.
We're in Bracknell.
oh,
Oh,
That's nice.
We're at home. We're in Shaker, but we're in Wellfleet now.
Ah,
that's funny.
Well, we may have lost Kim, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thank you all so much for being here. It was so lovely to have this little group in this conversation, and thank you for bearing with us for our first virtual opening. It was exciting, and
I hope you do it again.
Yeah,
because
thank you for
we-
doing it.
Yeah.
Really good.
you did a wonderful job. You put it together
thank
beautifully.
you. It was all Susie.
It was all Emily.
Oh, no, it's Emily and Susie.
It was a team effort.
It was
but
Kim.
Yeah,
Let's face
it was
it.
Kim.
It was
It was
Kim.
Kim. We couldn't have done it without her. I wish she was here to hear that, but
To be a proud parent.
yes,
Although
yeah.
it's so hard to believe.
Well, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience, and we'll post this either on our website or on Facebook, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, because you can't have art without an audience. So it needs both. So we really appreciate the support.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Kathy. Bye, Amy, and other person.